Meet me. Alright guys, it's been a while. Welcome back to a chat video. I haven't been uploading much because I've been doing a lot of RTA. Now, you guys know I've been hooked on D2R. I barely played Epic 7 this season because I was burnt out. But it was the end of the season, so I thought, hey, let's find out if I totally suck now. And the answer is yes. So I've been trying to get to Legend. I just can't. The closest I got was 150, and then I got dunked back down to like 700, so this is where I am now. Not too impressive, but I think this is enough matches now. I've been playing a lot to kind of get a sense of the meta, and more importantly, if you guys watch my RTA series, I kind of alluded to this before, but I kind of isolated why I hate this meta so much. So I figured I'd do a video about it to get kind of the community's thoughts on it. And again, I just want to say that these are my own opinions. If you disagree with me, think I'm wrong, I won't be offended by it. Put it in the comment section below. Let me know why you think I'm wrong. It's fine. It's just my thoughts. I'm sure some people love this meta. But I don't know, that'd be crazy. But maybe there's some of you guys who like this meta. So as always, we're going to break this video down into topics. Don't worry too much about the background. I'll put some clips to kind of show what I'm talking about, but in general, it doesn't matter. So first, let's start off on a positive note. We're going to talk about the good. Number two, we're going to talk about the bad. Topic number three will be short. We're going to talk about the idiotic/unforgivable. And then topic number four, we're going to very quickly touch on what Smilegate could do about it. But a spoiler alert, I don't really know. So with that out of the way, let's get right into topic number one. The good. So there are some good things about this season. I think the biggest one is the hero diversity. I have never seen so much hero diversity in any season. Like if you remember season 1, there were maybe like 15 heroes that were drafted over and over by everyone. Nowadays, like a lot of people have completely different play styles, and it's cool. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still a meta, and there's still like units that people pick over and over, like S10A, Landy, Rem, Violet. There's still a meta, right? But still, like you can mix it up. Like some people like Caesarea Cleaves. I've even seen Closet Charles Cleaves. There's a lot of heroes that are in play now. So I want to say the total pool of viable endgame heroes is much larger than it's ever been, which I think is healthy and very good. Another positive is that drafting is still very important. I don't want to give the impression that drafting, if anything, it's more important than it ever has been, and we'll get into that later. I still don't like it, but in terms of drafting, I'm not going to say that drafting doesn't matter, because it does. I think it's more important than ever before, but I think for bad reasons. Another good thing is the pacing of the matches is nice. They're not too fast, but they're not too long. It's a happy in-between for most of my matches. Even the bruiser matches are over in less than 5 minutes for the most part. I like that because I don't think anyone wants to go back to the Season 1 days of just double knight, triple soul weaver, garbage games where it just last 30 minutes and the winner is whoever doesn't kill himself first. I think the pacing of the matches is very good. Another perk from this season is that they did a good job making some of the other sets viable. Like Pen set is on a lot of heroes now. My Pen set sucks. I don't do Katie's. I don't have a Katie's team. Revenge set, I don't think that one is so good, but I think some people run it on their Crows and stuff. Maybe a handful of units can use that. An injury set, again, I don't want to say it's too popular. I want to say the only unit I really see it on is Belian. But Pen set definitely is on a lot of heroes. So it is cool to see that some of these quote-unquote completely useless sets are now viable and being used at the highest levels. So all good work to Smilegate for all of those accomplishments. Now let's move on to the negative. Topic number 2, the bad. Alright, so let's go into the bad now. So I have Flan on the screen, and this is just my opinion, but the first thing we're going to start on is power creep. Some people say there is no power creep. I think you're nuts, because the new heroes are definitely power creeped. And I'm going back to Flan because not that Flan is OP or anything. She's fine. Like, I have no problem with Flan. but it's the first example of a hero where I thought it was blatant power creep. Not because she was overtuned or anything, but because when they buffed her, I was just like, because I was a big Tywin user, and it was a kind of hero where when she existed, there was literally no reason to use Tywin anymore, right? She is better than Tywin in every way and has the exact same kit. A Dispel on the S1, a push on the S2, except now you get crit damage buff, and more CR push, I think. The S3 can't miss, pushes them back, and also has unhealable. It's just better in every way. I think Tywin's gave him defense buff. Who gives a crap for a cleave team? And then the fact that she could also... It was just literally better than Tywin in every way. And the reason I'm going back to this example is I just feel like that's how a lot of the new heroes are. Like, AOL is just basically a Bazaar, but vastly superior in every single way. Rem is kind of like a Water Charles, except she hits everything and is just vastly better in every way. Violet is, weirdly, as the non-ML version, kind of like Riolet, but better in every way. I mean, maybe not every way. Riolet still has that much better one-shot potential early and much more controllable, but Violet's not far behind considering how much more annoying he is. Not that Riolet isn't annoying. Don't get me started on Rimuru. I mean, we don't have to talk about every single hero, but the point is, if we look at the past few heroes that came out, like Rimuru, AOL, Belian, even buff units like Violet, Emilia, like all of them are so much better than their prior counterparts that it's just everything's getting outclassed in this game, and I don't really like that. So Emilia is actually an example of a hero I like a lot. I have no problem with this hero. We'll get more into that in a little bit. But going beyond power creep, let's move on to the next topic, which is the rock, paper, scissors meta. I've been talking about this for months, if not years, that, it all started to me when Blood Moon Haste came out, where I said, I really hope they don't go down this road of just repeatedly releasing heroes with, annoying, unique mechanics where there is no analog, right? Like, this is a perfect example. I don't think Belian's that busted. She's maybe borderline busted. Like, her soul thing, honestly, the soul thing is the thing I care least about. The most annoying thing about her is that she's a knight and she could hold Elbrus, right? The soul thing, I don't cleave, so it doesn't bother me at all. I very rarely start matches with souls anyway. But the thing is, she has an annoying mechanic that no other hero has, right? So if you don't have Belian, there's nothing similar that you can draft to fit this role. There's nothing really similar to AOL. I guess you could say Bazaar, but I mean, it's just much worse than AOL. Like, there's literally nothing that can do what Rem does. Ridiculous AoE counters that's extremely punished. Like, if you fail to kill her and she AoE counters, she heals to full, and you're back at 0. Like, there's just so many heroes now where it just turns into just watch how drafts go. Like, people pick Rem, then you gotta pick Violet, or people pick a Ravi and she's super strong, so they immediately pick LQC, because if you don't, there's not that many other counters. And we're getting into this kind of predictable draft meta where everyone's just picking chain counters into each other. And some people like that. But I don't. I kind of like drafting around the idea of a team. And I think now the meta's more drafting around individual hero kits. I don't know how to really explain that, but in the past I felt like your team had an idea. Like, you were an offensive bruiser, you're trying to do pressure draft, you're trying to play defensive. But now the game just feels like every team has a hero where they could potentially 1v4 the other guy's team, and both players their goal is kind of just to wipe out the supporting cast and let that one hero solo. Like, the most common example is Violet. You just deal with the thing that could possibly kill Violet on the other team, and then Violet is guaranteed to 1v3 them. I just think that's stupid and idiotic. And I said I'd go back to Emilia, and it's because I wish they would release more heroes like Emilia. Because if you look at Emilia's kit, Nothing unique or special about it, but she's very strong. What did they do? They took a cleansing Soul Weaver and a half A-Lots. They toned down her healing, so she actually can't heal that much, right? But they basically made her an offensive Soul Weaver without having to add some kind of annoying RNG mechanic or unique weird thing in her kit, like revealing stealth units or something stupid like that. They just took mechanics that are already in the game, but the combination didn't exist in one hero. And what did we get? We got a great hero that's a lot of fun without being annoying. Like, I haven't really seen that many people say, like, oh, Amelia is so toxic and annoying to deal with. But she's very strong. You can make a very strong hero without having annoying, toxic mechanics. Now that we've covered that, now that we've talked about toxic mechanics, what is the reason I hate this meta the most? It's the RNG, guys. Like, so RNG has always been a part of competitive E7, right? Dual attacks were always in the game. 15% was always in the game. Elemental advantage was always in the game. But it didn't feel that bad. Generally, in past seasons, like, the only time I really hated RNG was, like, Riolet or something like, or MLDB Degen Arby's. But, like, at least that was 20%, and, you know, obviously sometimes it proc like 10 times in a row, but in general, it didn't feel that bad. This season, everything just feels so bad. Like, I think there's many reasons for this. Number one is just the fact that things like Rem, Violet, and Belian are so popular. Like, they're in, like, every single game, pretty much. Rem, like, if you don't take them, they will. So people have criticized, and they're like, why do you pick Grapehead if you hate him so much? It's because every time I don't, I get soloed by the damn guy, and I just don't want to pre-ban him every single game because I hate, like, Rimuru now, and I used to hate Landy more. But the thing is, like, every single match, I feel like just comes down to who gets better RNG. Like, there have been games where I thought I would definitely lose, and then my Belian... I remember one game, the guy started emoting me because he had it in the bag. I was dead, and my Belian countered 4 times in a row and wiped out his entire team. And that's the thing, like, when that stuff happens, it doesn't even feel good to win. Like, it's one thing to feel bad when you lose to RNG. I don't even feel good about winning with RNG because, to me, I didn't do anything. I didn't earn that victory. The game basically just played itself. I didn't have to do a damn thing. Last season, when I was making an actual Legend push, I lost over, like, I don't know, like 700 matches, and it was cool. I liked losing last season. I mean, not always, right? But there were sometimes I versed really good players, and they murked me. But they did it in ways that I didn't even know were viable. Like, I remember Aetherbulge, for example, he schooled me with, like, a Yuna, and I was like, who the hell uses Yuna? And I was like, damn, Yuna's freaking strong. I mean, not, like, overall, but in that specific draft, I don't remember what it was. It was a very good pick. And, like, those are the kind of losses where I'm like, damn, I got outplayed. And I like that, and it's cool, and I learned something. This season, the vast majority of my losses, I just, not always, like, there are some times I've learned stuff, but in general, I'm just like, why did I lose? Oh, I couldn't hit the Violet in 20 turns once without elemental disadvantage. Like, is that educational? Is that fun? It's not. Like, I just feel like a lot of these losses just come down to just nothing. Nothing skill-based, nothing interesting, just literally an infinite string of RNG. And every single match has it. Every single match has, like, a Rem, a Violet, a Belian. And it's also exacerbated. One of you guys, I forget who it was, commented on one of my videos. The reason it feels extra bad now is that in the past, a lot of the meta heroes were all ML units, right? What's the thing about ML units? They don't have elemental disadvantage, so they don't miss. But now, because a lot of RGB units, you're going to see in a lot of these games, there's a lot of RGB units that are meta, it just is amplified every single game because with the advent of, like, RGB heavy drafts, missing is much bigger than it ever has been before, right? So a lot of games just come down to like these 50-50 coin flips where it's like, okay, if I hit him, I'm going to win. If I miss, I'm going to lose. And it's just every single man, it just gets tedious always thinking about the coin flip. Like the way I think about it is, imagine if in basketball, every time you scored a bucket, the ref came out and flipped the coin and decided if the points counted or not. That's how it feels. It's like you can make the right plays, but it doesn't matter. It's a 50-50 coin toss every time. Like it's less decision. I mean, it's still decision, but you still have to make the right decision, but you could still be punished for it for absolutely no reason. And that's why I hate this meta. I don't know if some people disagree. I'm sure maybe top Legend players have it so figured out that the RNG doesn't matter at all. But I just feel like I've versed Legend players, not recently I guess, but last season I played nothing but Legend players. This season I've run against people in the top 10. I mean, this guy destroyed me recently, Mega Wiener destroyed me, but the people in like the bottom 50, I beat them pretty consistently. And yeah, I still just drafted Violet, still drafted Rem. I've had a few games where I 1v4'd with Violet against them. Like, they're not immune to it, so I don't think so. I think the most consistent team you could probably play if you draft well enough is probably like a Caesarea Cleave, which is why maybe a lot of top players like it. It's probably the team that's least impacted by crazy RNG right now. But, yeah, I think it's horrendous. And I just hope a lot of these evasion / dodging / countering heroes are, slowly, I don't even know what to do, slowly removed from the meta somehow. Like, if you want to have a handful of them, fine, but just having it in every single game just is soul-crushing sometimes, especially when you go on a bad streak. I remember one streak I actually was just furious because I lost to Rem like 6 games in a row where no matter what I did, she just kept countering me and destroying me, and I would bring like all green drafts and still lose, and I'm like, how is this possible? But it doesn't matter. If she counters every single time, it like doesn't matter. I just like got enraged and just started pre-banning Rem for a little bit. The point is, I just don't like it. You guys can feel free to disagree with me. I don't like it. Let's move on to the unforgivable. So, this doesn't really matter to me because I don't even think I can make Legend this season. But what the hell are they thinking with balance patches and releasing new heroes less than 2 weeks before the end of the season? That's just idiotic and I think disrespectful to people actually trying to... I feel bad for all of these people because, well, maybe not these people. A lot of these people will make Legend anyway. But the people in like the bottom, like, probably around where I am, who are actually trying to push and or trying to figure out this meta, taking up the meta, like literally they're going to release that quasi-fire Violet, like what, 2 days before the end of the season or something? What are they thinking? Why would you do that? The balance patch for Mediator Coward coming out a week before the end of the season? Why? Rimuru a week before the season? Why? Like, they should have just timed this stuff to be... You don't want to shake up the meta 2 weeks before it ends. If you want to do it before that, that's fine. You can't just kill the game at the start of every season, say that nothing's going to change until the end of the season. But give the top players some time to establish a meta, learn it, and then compete for the last few weeks undeterred. Like, this is just stupid. The other thing is not really unforgivable. It's just a personal pet peeve of mine. I feel like this RTA season has been the most unstable one, but I haven't heard anyone else say that, so maybe it's just me. The weird thing is, at first I thought it was just my blue stacks crashing a lot, but I crash a lot on my phone too. And I saved this clip. This crap happens to me all the time too. Like, if you watch my last RTA upload, I think I also showed a match where it was doing moves for me, but I didn't even see the buttons. Like, I couldn't select anything, so I didn't even know it was my turn, and out, like, my APOC Ravi just S3'd. Then I have stuff like this where I didn't record him emoting, but we were actually able to emote each other, but we couldn't actually play the game. And I just ended up losing. I guess it just randomly decided that I lost the game. Maybe I left earlier. But it happened to me so many times this season. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just me. But when I was trying to push in the beginning to Emperor, now I've just been kind of hovering around here. It doesn't matter so much. But in the beginning, like I remember one stretch, I played like 30 games and I crashed like 6 of them. And I was like, this is so idiotic. But maybe that's just me. All right, so that was a quick section. Last one. What can they do about this? I have no idea. But what I fear they're going to do, which I don't like, is just keep selling counters to counter the stuff that people don't like, right? And that's just going to further reinforce the rock, paper, scissors meta. People are complaining about AOL. So they're going to, just keep making weird things. Like, who knows how they're going to counter AOL? Like, well, now you have Mediator Cowrick. We'll talk about that a little bit. But, they're just going to have very specific kits like, if your team is hit by a non-attack spell that debuffs you, counters and debuffs them. Like, something stupid like that. Like, it's just going to turn into a crazy rock, paper, scissors meta. Now, granted, there's so many heroes in the game now that maybe they're running low on ideas. I still think combination kits are overall more fun. If every once in a while you need to shake it up, go ahead, shake it up. But I feel like, they're just going to keep selling kind of like Belian. They're going to make a hero, start with 40 souls. This amount of souls cannot be reduced by any mechanic. And then they're going to release another thing that counters that. Like, don't get me started on Fire Mercedes and being able to counter stuff that cannot be countered. Like, it's just going to get insane, I think. But that's what I predict that they'll do. They'll just figure out, people hate Rem and Violet. We're just going to make a Ruana or something. He kind of already did with Rimuru, right? Because he could proc his S2 off counters. Granted, he'll probably proc it way before then. But I'm just saying, these mechanics are coming. In terms of fixes, one way to reduce the RNG is just to make ML stronger again than RGB counterparts. I don't know how I feel about that because it will reduce at least the elemental disadvantage RNG heavily. But with that said, I don't want all the good units gated behind MLs. But I don't know. I said from the start of the video, I don't really know what the ideas are. You guys can add ideas. Some people say things like add more pre-bans. I don't think that fixes it. But another thing is, I was talking to someone, they were like, it's not really a problem. You just need to have more heroes. I'm like, dude, I have like almost every hero in the game. The vast majority of people don't have more of the heroes than I do. I've been using YouTube money on Mystics for a while. I have pretty much everything. The only thing I don't have that I actually still want is Blood Moon Haste. The thing is, I feel bad for people who aren't whales because, AOL. AOL's actually not very hard to deal with if you have Mediator Cowrick. But the thing is, a lot of the counters to good stuff are now gated behind ML5s. Like, if you don't have Mediator Cowrick and you don't have a high FRES made, there's really no good answer to AOL, right? Your good answer is just to somehow try to outspeed it, but a lot of them are pretty fast, or pre-ban it, or ban it. If you, for whatever reason, first pick something slow, it's hard to transition to like a Acid Cleave or something just to deal with an AOL. And you also don't know. Some of them are just built slightly slower and super tanky, and an Acid won't be able to take it out because it'll be on proof or something. So I'm just saying, a lot of these so-called counters, it's another going back to rock, paper, scissors thing. Like, the heroes will have 1 to 3 very strong counters, and if you don't have them, here's another one. I use a lot of APOC Ravi. You know who is really good at controlling APOC Ravi? LQC. If you don't have LQC, it gets much harder because basically you have to rely on probably something like Landy or S10A. But if they also draft like Belian or things that can keep Landy out of stealth, like this new fire unit coming out, it gets pretty challenging. So, I don't know. At the high end, the whales probably don't care. The whales like me, we have these options, right? We can get every single ML5, we'll build them up. But for F2P players, it's not really an option. And speaking of which, I forgot to mention this in the power creep section. I am out of Molas. Because all the new heroes are so good and I want to Mola them, I can't Mola my Rimuru. I'm literally out of them. What do you do as F2P? when every single hero that comes out in like every 2 weeks is so good, you can't possibly keep up with MOLA. So I have no idea what struggles F2P players are going through, but yeah, from the competitive side of it, you guys are definitely screwed. You know me, I'm a straight shooter. I'm not going to try to like hype you and be like, oh, you could work around. You can't work around it. More rock, paper, scissors heroes, more power creep. Like, the solution around it is buy more packs. That's realistically the solution. So, anyways, I think, what are we at, 20 minutes? I think we'll sum it up. It was just a chat video, just my personal thoughts. What are your thoughts on this meta? Do you think I'm off base? Do you love this meta? Do you think the game is in a very good state right now? Just to reiterate, I don't think the game's dying or that it's horrendous right now. I just find the RNG mechanics less skillful than it was in the past, and a little bit tedious and annoying. I'm not here saying that the game is dead or atrocious now or unplayable. I still like doing RTA. It's still fun, but maybe I'm just getting old and I'm pining for the good old days. But I personally don't like this style of play at all, but maybe you do. And if you do, let me know about it. So anyways, thanks for watching. Share your own thoughts. Until next time, peace out, boys.